Good day, Minecraftians. Purple Mentat here, bringing you episode 28 of my Agrarian Skies Hardcore Quest Let's Play. This game pack by Jadedcat is available on the Feed the Beast launcher. A couple of things to go over that I did between episodes. I've grown I believe, total of three greatwood trees so far. I've scanned the logs. They have some magic on them. See, leaves just have herba. And I got a couple of them chopped down, and I've got another one there waiting for me, ready to chop down at any time. I extended the platform some. I'm not sure if I showed that last time, because this is the area that I'm going to be building a reactor in. I made my high oven even higher, so that I would have more room for production, and spent some time processing some steel. I have quite a bit of steel in here. I've got plenty of steel now. I have almost 3 full stacks worth of steel blocks. Also, I have more than enough glass to finish off the seared glass quest. Glass. More than enough seared stone to finish off that quest. So, come in here for the hoarding, open up my blacksmith blocks, manual submit, and boom, my 100 seared stone. Get a full heart, and let's take the middle reward bag, which is a greater reward bag. Brings me to 34 lives, and I'll open that when I have a little bit more inventory room. Oh, and I'm currently producing lots and lots and lots of clear glass because there is a For the Hoarding quest that still requires 10,000 of the stuff. Yep, and 10,000 regular glass, but I'll get onto that some other time. What else have I done? Over in my Thaumcraft room, I have one of the villagers that I spawned last time who had some useful trades, so I snatched him up. I've also been playing with illuminators, show you that in a moment. He offered to trade me ethereal essence for emeralds, so I exhausted that, and night ore for emeralds, and I've been exhausting that to refresh things. Water shards for emeralds, which I have a ton of water shards, I'll show you in a moment. I can trade quicksilver to get emerald, and he gave me mana beans for emeralds. So I have a few mana beans, which will speed along the construction of a mana bean farm, and quite a few water shards. And ethereal essence. Ethereal essence has that 2 aurum on it. I don't know if anything needs it in essentia form, but it was too rare of a resource to pass up. Very, very useful to have. Now, what have I done in here? Well, my illuminators are black now. I was reminded in a comment that I can take some dye and I can dye my illuminators. But this one doesn't seem to be lighting up, and if I hit F7, I can see that that one in the corner also is not doing its job. Well, I was also reminded that I can right-click on an illuminator with a wrench to change its mode, and I have these guys set to always on, so that they will never turn off no matter what happens. And I'm going to set this one to the same. There we go. And now everything's nice and lit up in here. I also added some night ore around the earth crystal clusters up there because I thought it looked cool. Which I think is a good reason to do almost anything. What else do I have to show you? Oh, yes, well, 2 important things. For one, upstairs here, I set up a precision export bus to craft raw plastic and a level emitter to emit redstone when it has 320 or more raw plastic. So this precision export bus is just going to keep forcing raw plastic into this interface, which will then, of course, store the raw plastic. So that means that'll have plastic stored on hand when I want to make chips or something, and I won't have to wait for this furnace to do 18 smelt recipes before I can make 1 chip. Also, and this is the part that I spent the most time on between episodes, downstairs. There's a downstairs now. I set up the igneous extruders because I couldn't think of an interesting way to do these, and rather than brute force it on camera, I did it all off camera. So this is a haul of 300 igneous extruders, each with some lava and some water in them, each outputting into these item ducts, and all of these item ducts are coming through here and feeding into this tesseract, which is set to the cobblestone frequency of 100. And now I'll come back upstairs. The reason it's encased in clay like this is because with it being completely encased in opaque blocks, I should not be rendering it when I'm not inside that room, which should, save me a little bit on graphical issues. So here's the output block for the cobblestone frequency. It's going straight into this deep storage unit. And I currently have almost 2 million. And I also have taught my system how to make most of the compressed cobblestones. And I've been, having it work along towards those. So I'll just tell it to begin crafting another sextuple. Basically, I just set it to craft whenever I'm here, and then whenever it's not doing anything else, it will be working towards making that sextuple cobblestone. So my cobblestone will always be trying to become more compressed. And to avoid running out of cobblestone all the time, I'm just going to hook up a basic export bus with a barrel and some cobblestone so that I reserve a little bit of cobblestone on the side. That was not cobble. So all I need to do is stick the barrel right there and stick the basic export bus, hold shift, right click the bottom of it, and tell it cobblestone. And it will keep a barrel full of cobblestone there filled up most of the time. I don't think it'll have any problem keeping on top of it. So what are my plans for today? Well, today I want to build a big reactor because as nice as that power generation that I've had going is, it can't quite keep up with my power needs, especially when I turn on my spawners and such. And I want to be doing more big things with power over time. And it's just that there's no way it's going to be able to keep up if I start siphoning off the kind of power that I'm thinking about. So to get a big reactor set up, I need a couple of things. I need to start making the big reactor blocks. And let me show you what those take. So to make, those are the turbine blocks. Here we go. So to make reactor casing, which must form the frame of it, I need graphite bars, which are made by smelting graphite dust, coal, or charcoal. And, whoops, graphite dust is just made by pulverizing graphite bars. So I have to smelt some coal and some charcoal to get my graphite bars, and every reactor casing is going to take 4 of those. It's also going to take 4 steel ingots and 1 yellorium ingot to make a reactor casing. The yellorium ingots are also the fuel for the big reactors. To make those efficient as possible, you want to build your reactor big. The bigger, the better. There is honestly no point if you're going for fuel efficiency that making a smaller reactor is a better idea as long as you can afford the material investment. It will pay out more in the long run. I mean, there's a certain point where, if you're generating 400,000 redstone flux per tick, you probably can't possibly use all of that. So I guess at that point you've gone too far. But until I get to about 40,000 redstone flux per tick, I'm not going to have enough power to do everything that I want. Yeah, I've got big plans. So for the most part, bigger is better. I'm going to start with a 9x9x9 reactor. And the reason you want it cubed is because you lose efficiency based on surface area, but gain efficiency based on total volume, as far as I can tell so far, which means that the cube is going to be your most efficient form for any big reactor that you build. To make a 9x9x9, I'm going to need somewhere on the order of 400 or 500 yellorium. Now, I got 16 yellorium dust to get started, so that's somewhat helpful. To make more of these ingots, though, I need more dust, or I need to get yellorite ore, which is just not available. It will not spawn anywhere. So to get the dust, my 2 options are to combine pulverized tin with sulfur, or to go to the Nether and get Nether uranium. Now, if you remember back to episode 19, the Nether and I, we are not friends, so I'm probably going to want to use tin and sulfur if I can. The problem being that sulfur, the most efficient source of it, is from the Nether. My options are to either pulverize blaze rods for 50% chance at 1 sulfur, or to go track down Nether sulfur ore to get 24 sulfur for pulverization. So no matter what I want to do, I need to go to the Nether. I mean, I guess I could make myself a blaze spawner, a lot like the witch spawner, set it down there in the room, get a bunch of blaze rods, grind them all up, and maybe half of them will get me sulfur if I'm lucky and actually hit the averages. The problem with that being that that's a lot of power expenditure to get my yellorium, and it's just not worth it. Especially considering by the time I get this reactor built, I'll be able to build myself a machine that will generate more yellorium for me. I won't need to go to the Nether except this once. So, to make myself somewhat safe in the Nether, and also to complete a quest, I'm going to make myself some armor. I noticed after last time that if I go back to the Steel Power series, there is a quest to make steel armor. So I'm going to make myself one of each of this pieces of steel armor, and that's going to be my protection in the Nether. Oh, steel aspects, metallum and ordo. So if you're desperate for ordo and can't find any other source of it, you can turn your iron into steel and use that. There we are. And now, I don't want to have to constantly be changing out all of my armor, so I'm also going to make myself an armor stand from Bibliocraft, which takes a couple of iron and a couple of stone slabs, all of which I have left over from earlier things. And I'm going to take this over and put it in my Thaumcraft room, because that's where I want my robes to be. Now, this armor stand is pretty cool. I can right-click it to open the UI, and then I can, shift-click things back and forth. If I point to a portion on it and shift-click, I can move that piece of armor between myself and the armor stand. Or if I give it a redstone signal, and I believe right-click, nope, I need to shift right-click, it'll transfer my entire suit of armor all at once. So now when I want to, have my robes to do Thaumcrafty stuff, I can put them on in one click. And if I want to have my armor to not die in the Nether, I can put that on in one click. Now, because I have all of this extra mob essence and all of this extra power, well, I wouldn't say extra power, but because I have all of this mob essence and enough power, I'm actually going to enchant all of these items once before I go through. I'll cut back in after I'm done enchanting to show you what I got, because it takes, 2,600 work each. This will not be a fast process. All right, all my armor is enchanted. I got Unbreaking 3 on my helmet, Protection 4 on my chestplate, Protection 4 and Thorns 2 on my leggings, and Protection 4 and Haste 3 on my boots. So yeah, Haste 3 lets me run a little bit faster without needing to intentionally dash everywhere. It's a fantastic enchant. Comes from Thaumcraft. I've got a pulverizer set up over here because I want to start getting some of that sulfur processed into yellorium. And for that, I need pulverized tin. So I've already told it that it can make a pulverized tin and a sulfur into a yellorium. And I'm just going to toss that in here. All I need to do is come over here and toss that recipe into the ME interface. And now I'm going to tell it to make me a bunch more yellorium dust. And I'm going to need, well, actually 6 stacks of this stuff. But it's going to take quite a while before it's anywhere near ready to make that. So, while that processes, the next step of it is I'm going to need a coolant. Now, I've done quite a lot of testing on the big reactors, and what I'm finding doesn't quite match up with what's on a lot of the wikis, and in the guides, and in the Reddit threads, and all of that sort of thing. All of those seem to suggest that your absolute best, most efficient option is to build a 5x5 or 7x7, make it 4 or 5 tall, and fill the inside with diamond blocks and resonant ender, the liquefied ender pearls. So rather than accept all of what I had found on the wikis and everything, because it all seemed to be a few months out of date, and I thought, well, maybe things have changed since then. I did my own testing, and I found that cryothium was the absolute best coolant. Now, cryothium is created from this cryothium dust in a magnet crucible. And the cryothium dust requires niter, blizz powder, redstone, and snowballs. Redstone and snowballs, no problem. Blizz powder, also no problem, because you can make it from redstone and snowballs. Fantastic. However, the niter is a bit of an issue. To get that, I need to either pulverize sandstone or I need to go to the Nether and collect nether saltpeter ore. So, my goals in the Nether are going to be to collect saltpeter ore, sulfur ore, and nether uranium. And I may or may not end up including all of my time in the Nether on camera. I thought of a couple of ways to make it fairly safe as long as I don't try to fight much. So my safety net is going to be the new mod, Warp Books. And Warp Books let me make this nice little warp book from a book and an ender pearl. And I can then make warp pages to put into the warp book from paper and ender pearls. And I'm going to make 2 of them right away. All I need to do to use it, I'm going to bind myself right outside my front door. Look where I want to be, bind it, name this waypoint home, put it into the warp books, and if I right click the book, it'll pause everything and let me click home. And I can do that from anywhere. Poof. Pretty snazzy. And then if I find anything of, importance in the Nether, I can bind myself a warp page to it. But the great thing about this is, oh no, I've fallen off. I take fall damage still because, there's nothing you can do to stop that, but it'll save me from some really nasty situations. If I end up stuck in a loop again from those hellfish, I'll be able to get out. So between that and a magma torch to stop as much spawning as possible, I should be able to tackle the Nether, with relative safety. As everything is always relative. So, heading on through. And I've decided that I'm going to, try to avoid putting too much Nether mining on camera. You guys have seen the dangers of the Nether at this point. And I don't... Ooh, hey look. Here's some leftover hellfish from when I died. Get this magnum torch down. Anyway, I'm not going to, put too much mining on screen because I don't want to bore you guys entirely. Oh, good. I'm withered. Okay, things are getting hairy. So there you have it. That's how I'm going to slowly but surely tackle all of those nasty extra hellfish. It'll take me some time. I may or may not actually get to my leftover goods in time to recover them. But I'll cut back in if I happen to die or once I get the problem taken care of. Alright folks, I got things cleared out, but I did it in kind of what I almost feel like a cheating way. Basically, I just ran away and waited until they all despawned. Once I got far enough away, they did, in fact, they either despawned or they found a new home inside the netherrack. In any case, something that I was doing was eating these miniature red hearts to stay alive. But I noticed something. You can upgrade the miniature red hearts, and I knew that they could be used to make these red heart canisters using necrotic bones and jeweled apples, but they can also be turned into yellow hearts, which restore 20 hearts instead of 10. And these miniature yellow hearts can be turned into yellow heart canisters at the cost of some invar and some empty canisters. And if I take a look at my character here, I have room for yellow and green. So I wanted to make myself a bunch of these yellow heart canisters. So I'm going to need 10 yellow hearts and then 10 more to make the green hearts. And they stack to 10, just like the others. Now the green heart canisters, they take emerald. So let's see if I even have the 80 emeralds that I need. Oh yeah, I have more than enough emerald. Fantastic. All right, so then I just need 2 invar and 10 empty canisters, which are made with aluminum. Easy peasy. And do you also use empty canisters? Yes, along with Eye of Ender. Oops, and these also stack to 10, which is actually pretty fantastic. So I'll make myself 10 Eye of Ender, or 20 actually. So yes, 10 yellow heart canisters, 10 green heart canisters. That was almost too easy. What do I mean almost? That was incredibly too easy. Oh no, I'm currently listed as hurt. What? That's kind of weird. I'm hurt when I have 13 health. I'll just grab a handful of these yellow hearts to hang on me as super good health potion things. Poof. I have a ton of hit points now. Fantastic. Alright, so I'm going to go back into the Nether. I'm going to do some mining. I upgraded my flux-infused pickaxe. I stripped off that fortune and put on the silk touch because when I got over to the area where I died last time, there was nothing there. So, back soon. Speaking of mining in the Nether, I did figure out what caused my death last time. So, these guys, the flux-infused items, have a couple of different modes. When this one's flux infused, it digs a 1x3 area, and it only applies silk touch to the block that I'm digging instead of the other two it breaks. So that's why I managed to activate that nether quartz last time. So I've been scanning a couple of things as I go. I haven't scanned nether quartz yet, or nether sulfur, because there's nothing to learn from it. And nether rack, nothing to learn from that. That's because it's been altered. So yeah, I'm just gonna mine up the nether. I need to find myself some nitor is the primary thing that I'm lacking right now. To completely fill the reactor that I want to build with cryothium, I am going to need 308 buckets of cryothium, which is going to require quite a bit of niter because one niter makes 2 cryothium dust, and it requires 4 cryothium dust to create a single bucket of the stuff. So yeah, I'm going to be mining for a while. If anything interesting happens, I'll pop back in. If I find a fortress, or if I, die horribly, that sort of thing. But now that I've got my warp book and my magnum torch over there, ooh, there it is, another saltpeter, I feel vaguely confident. Of course, that's what got me killed last time too. Confidence. So there, that's 6 saltpeter already. Each of them turns into 12 niter, which is 6 buckets of cryothium. So 6 buckets of cryothium per saltpeter means that I'm going to need just about a stack of nether saltpeter. That's not so bad. So, see you soon. Hey, found myself a blaze spawner. That could be useful. Come back for that sometime. With a diamond dolly from Java, I can take this back to the overworld. Anyway, it's more mob essence and free blaze rods instead of needing to work for them, which I approve of. Speaking of that spawner, if I want to be able to collect it easily later, I should probably make myself a warp page. And I'll name this one Blaze Spawner. Have to hold shift and right click to put it in the book. And it'll be the Blaze Spa, because apparently they can only hold the 10 characters. Fantastic. Alright, more mining. So I reached the end of the Nether Fortress, and I found another Blaze Spawner in there. And I figured, you know what, I'm going to keep exploring this way, because I've got that warp book to take me home. So I wanted to demonstrate on camera the complete lack of caring that is involved in having almost 40 hit points. Yeah, that hurt a little. Alright folks, I am back from the Nether, and I've got my goodies. I'm getting the last of the saltpeter processed right now, so it'll take its time. In any case, I need those snowballs now, because I need to start making blizz powder. And if I want, I could transfer all of these over by hand, or I could put an export bus pointing into that fluid transposer. And now I'm producing blizz powder and sending it out the top into my ME system. So I have all of the components I need to make cryothium dust. Fantastic. And then all I need to do is put down a magma crucible, start filling up a barrel. Which means I'm going to need to make another magma crucible. So I'm going to make a magma crucible. I'm going to tuck it right there. I'm going to put a barrel on top of it and start filling it full of gelid cryothium. And I'm also going to start getting those graphite bars, which again are made by cooking coal or charcoal in a furnace. like so. And I'm going to start making my yellorium bars, which involves smelting up the yellorium dust, which is again created from that pulverized tin and sulfur. So bad news, folks, that is all the time that we have for today. Between episodes, I'm going to get all of these resources processed. I've got my magma crucible there, cooking up some gelid cryothium for me. I've got my graphite, I've got my yellorium, everything is going well. So I'll have all of this processed and ready to use next time. Tomorrow I'm going to be crafting all of the blocks for the reactor and putting it into place. And I'm going to be explaining some of my choices, why exactly I'm using the design that I'm using, and what I'm hoping to get out of it. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope you are enjoying the series so far. If you are, please like, comment, favorite, subscribe. Helps me out an awful lot. See you next time.